Well, it's only March, and we have our first chicken shit dev of the year. Hooray! I was doing some work yesterday, working quite hard yesterday, and got interrupted with a notification from YouTube that another one of my videos has been taken down due to a copyright strike. This makes the third time this has happened on my channel. This time for the Steam Greenlight trailer video I did on Skateman Intense Rescue, which, so at that point, was basically the largest amount of coverage that particular game had. And I wasn't exactly praiseworthy, but compared to the other things that had been taken down, it was relatively fucking glowing. Given that the game was running at not calling it a frame rate would be giving it too much praise. It was, how do I put this? It was a picture every second or two. It was more or less a PowerPoint slideshow of a trailer featuring dogs on skateboards and aliens that were men with wings and no clothes. I don't quite know why the developer did this. Although the game itself has been removed from Greenlight, all trace of the game's existence has been wiped from the internet, so I don't know whether or not the developer has something personal going on, but that's what really kind of cheeses my onions about the whole thing, because if there is some personal reason for wanting to remove all evidence of the game on Greenlight and whatnot, if maybe the developer is ashamed of it, because I know I would be, or there's some other reason, I'm not unreasonable. It's not that hard to get hold of me. You could have asked? Really? You could have reached out? I'm open to the idea, if you've got a good reason, of working with you on that. If you are a developer and there's something about a video goes up that you don't like. I've been reached out to before by some developers who maybe felt I was being unfair, who maybe would have liked to argue some points I've made, and I've taken the criticisms on board, sometimes gone back and revisited material, sometimes issued corrections if needed, or stood by what I've said, but at least respected that the developer came and said something. I'm not an unreasonable guy, but these developers, this of course being the third one that's ever done it to me, others have done it to others, but let's say, well, we started with Cobra Studios, who did Island Light. That was another Steam Greenlight trailer. They took mine down with a copyright strike, sat on it for the 14 days that you get to sit on it without pursuing it further, and then YouTube reinstated the video. Most famously, of course, Digital Homicide hit me with one to take down my video on the slaughtering grounds. And now this studio, Digpex Games, none of these studios ever chose diplomacy first. They reach straight for the closest they can get to litigation. Reached for a cudgel rather than, you know, pick up a damn phone, metaphorically speaking. And they can do this because there's no consequence for what they've done. There's not even a social media presence for these studios. Cobra Studio doesn't have one, Digital Homicide doesn't have one, Digpex Games doesn't exist right now. They certainly exist enough to issue spurious takedown threats and whatnot, but search for them on Google and Google thinks you're asking for Digiplex Games and just throws up a whole bunch of vague game-related search results because there's nothing for Digpex Games, nothing that I can find. There's no Twitter, there's no Facebook, there's no official site. These developers are consummate cowards. They are able to do this with absolutely no consequence whatsoever. My video will be down for 14 days. Obviously there's a monetary penalty that I deal with there, but the money, I mean, is pretty small for it compared to the other issues, which maybe developers don't quite understand. You're not just taking down a video, mate. first of all, to get back into my YouTube channel, once I'm hit with one of these, YouTube issues a patronising quiz. This sort of, do you understand the law kind of thing. Make you watch a fucking Happy Tree Friends video and then asks you questions based on the video, pertaining to fair use and copyright and all this shit. Which is a waste of my time. I'm a very busy person. I do a lot of work. Yesterday, in fact, was one of the busiest days I've had in a while. I had to record a video, write a review, do a podcast, play Redacted for review, and then in the midst of all this, I had to deal with this shit. So it's a waste of my professional time. And once I've gone through that whole rigmarole, I then get to deal with my YouTube channel being in bad standing, which fucks it up in a few ways. It's not as bad as I believe it used to be, but it's still annoying. You know, it puts you at greater risk of having your channel just completely shut down without trial, no matter how spurious the claim is. It puts the entire channel at risk. You know, I host the Jimquisition on there, I host all my video content on there. You know, that's half my fucking career there at the moment, and there's no warning or anything. You know, I totally fully understand that that's a risk. You know, you're putting a lot of eggs in someone else's basket. That argument's been brought up before. I get that. You know, then again, all of games media is a risk, you know, whether you're putting all your content on YouTube or you're working for a site that could lay you off at any given moment. But it is the fact that these totally, like, practically anonymous third parties can smack you with these things, put you at greater risk, unnecessary risk, with absolutely no fucking consequence for themselves. Like I say, my video's going down now, it'll be down for 14 days. That's the standard procedure. Is a developer hits you with a copyright takedown notice, the video's taken from you without any form of questioning, without any form of investigation. It's all robotic. You issue a counter notification explaining who you are and why you're not gonna fucking take it down, and then nothing. They don't have to do anything beyond that. If they want to take it further, they then have to start pursuing actual legal action, you know, get lawyers in and take you somewhere, you know, court, arbitration, whatever. But so far to date, it never gets that far. What they do instead is they just sit there for the 10 to 14 business days that it takes for YouTube to decide that they're not going to take it any further, and then you get your video back. So it's basically just 2 weeks you can't show the video to anyone. 2 weeks where that video doesn't make much money, which, you know, it's not like my videos make a huge amount of money anyway, but, you know, it's certainly the principle of the thing, if anything, if nothing else. And 14 days in which they just get to sit back, get to enjoy the fact that they've lashed out at someone, and that person can't do anything back. So, good. That's well done, everyone. Well done, Digpex Games. Well done, YouTube. Well done. So that's that. It's a shame, you know, but what can you do? Literally nothing.